Hey guys, so we're going to go over some of the things we need to do for our evaluating functions task cards that you were given. Evaluating quadratic functions or any functions, it's the same process no matter what you're going to do. So you need to check to see what you can find from the information that you're given. I'm going to do a few of the problems from each of the tasks, and then you are going to do the rest on the Google form. But you're going to have to put in the answers that I give you on this as well. That'll let me know who watched the videos or who just went through and did it without help. Because if you get the questions wrong, I'm going to know you didn't bother to watch this video. So I recommend having this video open while you're working through the problem. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with task one. So it says, looking at the given table and graph, evaluate the following functions. So when it says f parentheses 2, what you're looking for is the x. What is y when x equals 2? So this says f, so we're going to come to the graph that says f of x. They want to know what f of 2 is, so we're going to go from 2 on the x-axis straight up till it meets the graph. From that point, we're going to go over to our y-axis, and the graph here happens to meet at 5. Same thing for number 2. So number 2 says h of 0. So here is our h function, and what we are going to do is say h of 0. We're going to find the x value that's 0, and then we're going to look across from it. So h of 0 is 15. I expect you to do numbers 3 and 4 on your own. So number 5 says f of x equals 5. What is x? So you're going to look at f of x equals 5. So the way we would do that is we're going to start, well, this one's actually pretty easy since we already did what f of x equals when it's 5. We're going to take our 5 and we're going to look across and find where it meets the graph and then go straight down. And that says f of x, x equals 2. So there's not a whole lot of work on these ones because you're actually just interpreting information that you already know. But you do need to show your work. So number 5 or 6 says h of x equals 4. So h of x, go down till you find 4. What is the x value that corresponds with that 4? And then number 7, where it says f of 4 plus h of 4. So what you're going to do is you are going to find f of 4 by going up on your graph and finding out what the x value is. Or the y value is, sorry. And same thing with your h. h of 4 is this. What is the, sorry, so you're down your h of 4, so your x is 4. What is the corresponding y value? And then you'll add those two numbers together to get your final answer. All right, so for number 2, we are given an equation and a table. The table is going to be the same way, just make sure you know which one's which. So we can see that the table is our F's and the equation is our G's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out one of the G's. And okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take number 1 that says G of 0. So remember, when whatever's in the parentheses, that's your X. All right. So we're going to take G of 0, we're going to plug 0 in for X. So G of 0 is equal to 3 times 0 minus 12 because the 0 gets plugged in for X. This was X. So G of 0, 0 minus 12 is equal to negative 12. So this will be negative 12. Okay, so we're going to do the next one, which is number 5. We're going to do G of x equals 0. The reason I'm going to do that one is so that you can have that information for later problems. So if G of x equals 0, we're going to take 0 and we're going to plug it in for G of x. So 0 is equal to 3x minus 12. Well, now we're just solving for x. So we're going to add 12 to both sides. And so we get 12 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. and 4 is equal to x. So we're going to put x equals 4. And finally, the one I want to go over with you on this one is number 7, because number 7 is the hardest one on this task. And there are several that will be like that in later tasks on this page. So f of g of x. So we're going to find f of g of 6, okay? So first, we need to find out what is g of 6. So g of 6 equals 3 times 6 minus 12. 3 times 6 is 18 minus 12. So g of 6 equals 6. So then we're going to plug 6 in here for g of 6. And so we get f of 6 equals, well, what does f of 6 equal? Go to your table, go down, find 6. F of 6 equals 5. Simple enough. All right, task number 3. We're going to go ahead and go over a couple of these problems. Again, with the h of x, you're going to do it the same way you have been doing. So number 4, 5, and 6, those are just looking for the information on the graph. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 are going to be plugged into the f of x. So f of x this time is our equation, and h of x is our graph. So for f of negative 1, so let's find f of negative 1. Remember, that means I'm going to plug negative 1 in for x, especially important when you have negatives to put them in parentheses, because it will change your answer. All right, and we'll demonstrate that with number 3. So f of negative 1 is equal to negative 1 squared plus 1. Negative 1 squared is 1 plus 1 is 2. So f of negative 1 is 2. I'm going to help you with number 7. So number 7 is h of f of x of with negative 2 is the x. So let's do f of negative 2. F of negative 2 equals negative 2 quantity squared plus 1. All right? F of negative 2 squared is 4 plus 1 equals 5. So you're going to find h of 5. And I'm just going to leave it like that for now. You will find the answer. But the point I was making about your negatives is that negative 2 in parentheses squared plus 1 is not the same as negative 2 squared plus 1. Because in this case, the squared only applies to the number, not the negative. So the base is 2, not negative 2. So negative 2 squared is negative 4. So negative 2 without the parentheses squared is negative 4, plus 1 is negative 3. Those are two different answers. One good thing to see there is that if you had gotten that, it would have been really difficult to find the answer because there is no h of negative 3 on this graph. Don't leave negatives outside of parentheses. All right, number 4 has some of the similar issues as every other one before, with f of x being our equation. And then we also see that they want us to look with p of x, which they did not give us. P of x is having to be determined from our equation. So, or our word problem here. So we have Bob is a waiter who gets paid $7 per hour, which is x, $7 per hour x. If last night he made $25 in tips. So tips is going to be a flat amount of money that he made that night. Find his total pay equation. So we're going to put P of x, so payment for hours, is $7 per hour x. Now remember, per means multiply. Remember our Rady the Rate Cat? Per. So $7 per hour plus tips, which for that day was 25. So then we're going to use this equation right here for P of x. You'll notice how I'm giving you assistance on different parts of each problem, so make sure you're paying attention and doing this as you go. Okay, so for task number 5, I was going to make you write your own equation, but there's a problem in here I definitely want to go through. So let's go ahead and do this. So it says if Carmen gets paid a flat daily amount of $30 plus $1 for every subscription X. What's her pay equation? So remember, if you mark up your problems, they're easier to work with. So we have her pay per subscription is based on the number of subscriptions plus $30. And so the reason I made that equation for you was I needed to make sure I could do number 4 and 5 to help you with, because I'm sure there are going to be other problems like that. So first of all, let's look at number 3 real quick, and it says 5p of 13. So that's the same thing as saying 5 times whatever you find for p of 13. So substitute 13 in for x, find p of 13, and add times it by 5. Use a calculator. All right, so f plus p of 2. So this is going to be the same thing as f of 2 plus p of 2. Since it's addition, I'm going to leave it and let you do it, just reinterpreting it. But the harder one that we're going to have is p times f of p of 1 and f of 1. So basically, you have p times f of 1. We're going to have the same thing as p of 1 times f of 1. And so p of 1 is 1 plus 30 is 31 times f of 1, which is 0. Oh, good. Anything times 0 is 0. All right, so the rest of them will be just like every other problem we've done so far. Again, be online tomorrow for live chat. And again, on Thursday, we might do a video conference Thursday instead. I'll let you know. All right, so for task number 7, which is the next one that has anything new in it, we're going to go ahead and look at the 2 tables that are related to each other. So it's pretty interesting how they have this one set up. So Angela graduated from college a few months ago and now has $45,000 in student loan debt. Over the last few months, she has been paying and saving and paying down her debt. So it's number 1 says when Angela has $3,000 saved, what does she still owe? So if we look here, we have savings account balance X versus student loan balance G of X. So in this table, if we look at our student loan balance, she wants to know when she has $3,000 saved, what is the student loan balance? And it would be $44,600. Simple enough there. Evaluate G of f of 3. So the way we're going to do G of f of 3 in this case is to go ahead and look at what is f of 3. Well, look here. We have our f equation, a savings account. So f of 3 gives me $2,000. Her savings balance is $2,000. So now I want to know what G of 2,000 is. So let's find out what G of 2,000 is. We have 2,000 here. G of X is $45,000. So looks like she did not pay anything for the first 3 months. That's normal. Evaluate G of 3,500 minus f of x. Again, G of 3,500, we would look for that in our savings account versus student loan table. And then f of x, we would look for that in our savings balance. Number 4, it says f of x equals 2,500. What is x? Look for 2,500. Tell me what the x is. Same thing with the number 5, where it says g of x is 4,400. What is x? Find 44,200 on your table and tell me what x is. All right, so the next complicated one we have is task 9. It has, for example, number 4, g minus h of 3. So we're going to do that one, and that'll help you with the others. So g of 3 minus h. All right, so g of 3 is going to be g of x, so x equals 3. So that's going to be 3 squared minus 1. 3 squared is 9 minus 1, 8. So we're going to have 8 minus, and then we're going to do h of 3. H of 3 equals negative 2 times 3 plus 3. So we have negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 plus 3 equals negative 3. So 8 minus negative 3, and remember double negative is a positive. 8 minus negative 3 is 11. And then honestly, that helps you do the next one as well because we already know what g of 3 and h of 3 are. So if we have h minus g, so we're going to have negative 3 minus 8, be negative 11. All right, and finally for task number 10, or well, not finally necessarily, yeah. Finally, for task number 10, we have the function f. I'm going to help you write the equations. Because the numbers are so large, you're going to be doing some interesting work with it. So I'm going to help you write the equations to ensure that we can handle this. So the first one says the function f of x models the total number of lamps produced on any given day x after the company opened. Each day 120 lamps are produced. Each, keyword there, each. So that means multiplying. So f of x equals 120 lamps every day. So 120x, right? And then P of x, the next one says P of x gives the total profit for any number of x lamps produced. Each lamp carries a $7 profit. Each. Easy enough. So P of x equals $7 per lamp. All right, and finally there is a bonus question. I'm going to have you work on it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I want you to figure it out. All right? This is bonus enrichment. It's a good thing to know how to do. All right? Because it'll help you on your exam with reading the graphs. And sometimes this is the hardest part for some people is remembering that in a function, when they give you a graph, the answer is going to most likely be on the graph. So all of the answers for this problem are on the graph. Just make sure you pay attention to the order the parentheses goes in. So you need to go to the parentheses that are furthest in, and the grouping, then the next grouping, then the next grouping. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. Make sure you get these turned in as quickly as possible. I have changed the due dates to being Monday morning at 8 a.m. because that's when I log in. And it was getting a little weird to have that many emails telling me you guys submitted it 1 minute late. So try and get it in before I get up in the morning, basically, before I get online. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. You can also text me. My number's on the Lee website. And you can, of course, sign in for the live chats on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Tomorrow will be a text-based live chat unless somebody really needs me to share my screen. But Thursday, I think we'll do a video chat again so that I can share my screen more easily and hear your questions. So whichever way you'd prefer, let me know. I will talk to you then and have a good, safe time.